IEM Gyeonggi. My name is David Freak Turley and Martin DeFischulinga. We're going to start a fire because we match.
We do match. I think actually we look very good today. And
We
I'm
do.
very surprised to see your shirt choice. Make me very happy.
Yeah, we both came in and were like, oh, we're going to wear the same thing today. This feels good.
And we're going to watch Giants.
Yes, we are. Giants versus Kongdoo Monster. Giants, some stumbles, but still looking pretty good overall as a team. I finally got to cast tonight. The guy is as good as I thought he was going to be. That man is insane. But,
yes, he is.
But Kongdoo Monster looked so good earlier today. And we already know that, they got top 2 at Kespa Cup. They've been practicing. These guys look on point and ready to take the LCK as well as they can, and I think they are favorites to take this tournament.
I actually think, Kongdoo and Samsung.
Mm-hmm. I already
Surprise.
I put my vote in for Kongdoo officially in the previous game. Just taking some analyst desk sections, but
I think it's fair. I mean, the thing about Kongdoo, and you said it just now, the fact they have actually been practicing for, first promotion tournament, then Kespa Cup, and now this means they are basically ready as a team to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think we saw in the last game, coordination was on point, individual skill, we know that.
Yeah.
From multiple of their members is very good. I like Edge a lot in the mid lane, Soul down in the bot lane as well. So they have the players, and they have the synergy, which none of the other teams seem to have.
Right, exactly. They clearly looked the sharpest of all the teams. I'm pretty sure they got the fastest win, of the tournament so far, like a 24-30 win.
Against the weakest team, we should assume.
Yes, definitely by comparison, Dark Passage looked very lost. But here we have Kongdoo Monster on your screen. Their lineup: Roach, Punch, Edge, Soul, and Googer. And yeah, this lineup has stuck together. They had to go back through Challenger, then back in to the LCS. They had been kicked out, but they stuck together to make it happen with only one roster changing that entire sort of move, and they look sharp.
And it's been a really good change. Getting Punch in the jungle is really a good addition for the team. Also, the fact that Roach individually has just gotten better as a player kind of means that Kongdoo Monster now doesn't have that problem they had in the spring split. Because I think for everyone who watched Kongdoo Monster in the spring split, I never felt like they were a dumb team or anything. I was like, all right, it seems like it makes sense what you're trying to do. But whenever you then watch the bot lane go up against Bang and Wolf or something, you watch Smep take on Roach up in the top lane, they were just outmatched individually.
Yeah.
And then it's really hard to do anything.
It absolutely is. We'll see if this lineup ends up being easy for them to take on, though, as Giants here. Organization hailing from Spain, the team playing the European LCS. Flaxius new in the top lane, Mighty Bear new in the jungle, Knight returning in mid, Upset new at AD carry, Hustlin returning on support. 3 new members on this roster. Mighty Bear is a tryout, so no guarantee he'll play in the LCS next split, but his first game looked okay.
Sure. I mean, he did his job, right? That's kind of the only thing we can ask of Mighty Bear. And he's the kind of guy I'm happy to see get a second chance, because I think coming into the EU LCS last split, I was kind of hyped for him. I was hyped for him. I was probably the guy in Europe at least hyping him the most, and in the end it didn't actually work out, and I kind of looked a little bit like a fool, but he's a very solo queue-ish player, and then he joins an international team where communication is a bit of an issue, and the playstyle is very different, and obviously he just didn't match really well with Vitality. So I'm glad to see him play here at IEM to just kind of give him that second chance, because that's the thing we talked about yesterday. Is IEM is really the place where these new rosters, they come in, and as an organization, as a coach, you see all these new players, and you kind of figure out, okay, what is our strong points, what's our weak points, where do we need to improve a lot. If you are trialing some players, do we want to keep this guy because he was so good at IEM and so on, and you kind of learn a lot of these things, and you can work on them before the LCS, and that's actually an advantage some of the other teams won't have.
Absolutely agree, and we always know there's plenty of teams where the way they play in scrims is nothing like the way they play on stage when the actual match is. Rocket is a famous example of that one, where they were the best team in Europe in scrims, and they were deplorable in the LCS. But sometimes you can see things like, wow, we're running on scrims, then, okay, which players are doing wrong? What's going badly when we're now up on stage with the lights, the cameras, and all the crowd and everything else? And sometimes you get to figure out what those disadvantages might be. We are now ready for picks and bans here. Game 1, best of 3. The winner moves on to the semifinals, and they will face Immortals. I don't know if that match will be tomorrow or the next day, but it's going to be one match each day for the next 3 to finalize the bracket and the winner of IEM Gyeonggi. But we are here. Best of 3, Kongdoo Monster versus Giants. Again, winner tops the group. Loser awaits the decider match, which will be the final match of the day several hours from now. Thresh, Syndra, off the table.
No real surprises yet. I mean, I guess Thresh is a surprise. I would personally not target ban it. I don't think Hostlin has shown any sort of insane skill on that champion specifically, but it was banned earlier by Kongdoo.
It's like an 80% pick ban champion at this tournament.
It is
a lot of
definitely.
Thresh.
Yeah, it is a strong pick, but Kongdoo Monster banned these exact 2 picks. Rengar Thresh is the first 2 bans against Dark Passage earlier, and that's not a target ban against them either. It just seems like these 2 champions have basically caused them issues in scrims, and they just removed them.
I think it's a lot of the reason we're seeing very, very similar bans constantly. Okay, a champion like Syndra and LeBlanc, I get, we know they're just generically very, very strong. But a lot is like, how much has Kongdoo really been able to scout Giants? Like, okay, maybe you saw Mighty Bear solo queue, and to be fair, he's Korean, they're Korean, there's a really good chance they know the guy pretty well at this point, but a lot of it's like, you just take stabs at what's generally being played. Like, oh, Hustlin, he played Zyra last game, we'll ban him, right? Like,
that one makes sense. That's like, okay, we saw you just play this champion. You did a pretty good job on it. It's annoying to play against in team fights, and we want to try and secure a strong 2v2 bot lane because you can definitely beat Upset and Hustlin down there. So that makes more sense than the Thresh ban. It just seems like those 2 picks are just something the Kongdoo Monster don't want to face.
Wow, and the early Lee Sin pickup saying, go ahead, play Rek'Sai, play Ivern if you want to. We don't care about that. Of course, Giants leaving Ivern up this time around. Actually, I think it was, it was Liquid who had banned Ivern in the previous game. So now Mighty Bear, it's unbanned against him. Maybe he does bring it out.
Nah, he's just gonna Rek'Sai. I don't think Mighty Bear has become like a one-trick Ivern player or something. And
I don't
that's
think
like,
anyone's a one-trick Ivern player.
That's the thing where he just wants to play it no matter what. Rek'Sai is good against Lee Sin anyway. You can, especially in team fights when you can actually kind of block the Lee Sin from jumping in and getting a free insect on someone. So I think Rek'Sai would make the most sense here from Giants. Don't have to lock it in now if they want to go for other priority picks. With the Poppy ban, we can look at something like Nautilus being picked. And very famously, Nautilus is a flex pick for Giants because Hostlin was the guy who kind of very early on played a lot of Nautilus support, and he was actually a bit of a one-trick a few years ago. So I think it makes a lot of sense that you pick it now and you ban the Poppy.
So the thing I found interesting, speaking of tank supports like Nautilus, is even though Courage of the Colossal we know is a very good Keystone Mastery, and it's certainly shaped the top lane metagame quite a bit, it hasn't, I feel like, done that much for bot lane. It's made Thresh more common. I think Thresh ubiquitously runs Courage, and that makes him a bit tankier as a champion, but it hasn't really made, like, Alistar and Nautilus extremely strong champs. Some of that is Redemption's so good, but even then, like, Zyra remained a top-tier champion when she got no health.
Yeah, the reason is that Curse of Colossus doesn't necessarily help you, like, destroy lane. And it's really hard to play melee supports against these big range, like mages, like Karma and Zyra. They can just outpoke you, they get the pushing priority. And as we've seen so often in this tournament, diving the bot lane has been like the #1 strategy. So if you play a melee champion that gets pushed on the tower, yeah, you might have a big fat shield in a team fight.
But they're killing your AD carry anyway.
They're killing your AD carry right next to you, yeah. So that's like the problem is just the pure laning phase is still very difficult for these melee supports. But if you can get an Alistar, a Braum, a Tahm Kench out of laning phase with Curse of the Colossus, it's super effective in team fights.
Look back at what pick ban has been so far with the Ryze early pickup actually for Giants for Knight in the mid lane. Now we saw that Knight smashed the Cassio Ryze matchup, being the Cassiopeia in the previous game up against Goldenglue. Now he's playing the reverse up against Edge, who is, I think, unarguably a better player than Goldenglue is. So
safe to say.
Will be a harder matchup for him, but we'll see how well they can go with this one. Looks like you're better off Rek'Sai. And meanwhile, Ezreal going to be the pairing in the bot lane, with Nautilus remaining a flex until the end.
Yeah, so that's where, again, if they do want to flex down to Nautilus, they kind of surrender the bot lane, but they have an AD carry who can kind of farm from range.
Yeah.
Picking Ryze here actually shows like how Knight very clearly likes the Ryze into Cassiopeia matchup, because, again, he had the choice of just picking Cassiopeia if he wanted to pick that one against the Ryze again.
Yeah.
But he valued the Ryze highly, and a lot of European mid laners back in the playoffs started playing Ryze mid a lot, and it was like very early on introduced as like a very strong pick. And clearly, Knight was one of those guys as well.
Yeah, it's because he opted into playing Cassio into Ryze. Like, yeah, this is going to be a counter pick for this one.
Yep.
And now he's like, I'll blind pick Ryze, do whatever you want with it. So, you know, interesting just to see how that happened. Either way, Jace top lane in for Roach.
And this might actually happen. I know it's a hover.
Yeah.
I know it's a hover, but they have been practicing like Yasuo top in solo queue mainly. When you've been watching some of these players. And it's something you can pick into like squishy matchups, and you have like a knockup from Rek'Sai and knockup from Nautilus.
Yeah, it's not bad.
There is probably a chance it just becomes Nautilus top lane and you pick a support instead.
Support Yasuo? Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, yes, exactly. He has exhaust, right? He's a support. Just build a side stone and that's it.
Perfect. I hope he does it. I want to see it. I don't think it's likely.
It's not likely, but I wouldn't be surprised, like too surprised, if it actually got locked in and they want to play like this carry top. Does change it. Sad face.
Well, it is going to be at least support Nautilus for what that's worth, but That doesn't mean too much, of course. Kind of cute how the pick ban worked out. They managed to ban Poppy and then take the other 2 tanks. Now, granted, there was always the option to grab Maokai at the end. He went for Jace instead.
Though.
I know. I'm sad about it, too. I would have liked to see it.
On the Yasuo in his first international tournament. But
Sure.
we get Maokai instead. And Jace is one of the picks you and me, Freak, we talked about yesterday, being like, hey, let's get Jace. Let's get Kennen. Let's get some of these picks where you can camp top lane against a tank. You can build some armor penetration. Like, I've seen a lot of Korean Jaces go like Black Cleaver into Last Whisper as like just their core build against a pure tank. And they can just destroy that lane really hard and just like dive the tank over and over with the jungler.
Right.
Kongdoo Monster can do exactly that because their bot lane with the Karma Jhin, it's going to be more than fine 2v2 against Nautilus Ezreal. They're not going to be under any pressure, so
Absolutely.
they don't necessarily need to like babysit the bot lane.
Right.
They can actually camp top.
They get to camp top. What I also kind of like is that Edge on Cassiopeia, a pretty hard carry sort of mage. Everyone else on her team is a physical damage to their Karma you don't care about, like she's not going to do that much. And so you've got a Lee Sin, a Jace, and a Jhin you have to counter build, which means you're going to see late Visage, late Spectre's Cowls, no Hex Drinker, and Edge can do 1 million damage to the Cassiopeia with no one counter building her. Maybe an Abyssal on Rise, but that's about it.
Definitely a very interesting pick and ban phase, and I actually like the Jace adaptation from Kongdoo Monster. It's a BO3. You can take that gamble in game 1, and if you go off on the Jace, you might force a ban in the next game.
Absolutely agree. It's going to be fun to watch for. We'll see what they can do. Pick ban, I think, made sense generally on all sides. Lots of engage tools here. Relying pretty heavily on only 2 damage dealers, though, is Giants with Knight and Upset. And if Knight gets zoned out, which we saw happen to Golden Glue in the previous game, granted Knight's better, but if Rise can't put out damage, there's no damage output. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Summoner's Rift. We are here for Game 1 of this best of 3 between Kongdoo Monster from South Korea and Giants from Europe.
Bot lane party!
And
everyone who gets into the first brush first. That was Giants.
Cougar
but
sees 1.
He sees 1. He doesn't see anyone. They don't actually know there's more members down here. They just know it's like a 1v1. Who face checks? Send in the tanks first if you want to do anything. Oh, they're gonna get collapsed on!
Cougar does get the Q out in time and does land the hit back. That's the trade. Well, just the 1 for 0. The crit's going to come through. Nice flash in by Soul to take 1 away, but even still, that is advantage Giants for getting first blood. Hustlin lands the Q. It goes to Ezreal. That's actually really big.
Yeah, it's big because Cougar didn't actually flash. I don't think he saw the Mystic shot and actually realized it was going to hit him. But what a fun start because we had like 2 guys or 1 guy from each team scouting, just standing on the outside, and then 4 members snuck into the brushes, and they actually didn't know they were there. The Giants thought, okay, it's just a support on her own, catch her, and then suddenly 4 of the members show up from Kongdoo.
What's really big about this is even though the first blood's only 110 gold difference, the break point's really important because Upset gets to buy a longsword and a potion, and Soul gets to buy 300 gold of potions. Like, he doesn't even want to buy a dagger, really.
He gets a biscuit.
Ooh, how exciting.
And then we have to look at summoners as well being used. Flash down from Soul on Jhin. That opens up for Mighty Bear to path from top side where he's starting now with the red buff. All the way down for like a level 3, level 4 gank in the bottom lane. And if you're hustling, you can literally flash on the Jhin and just bonk him in the head once, and he's not going to move. And then suddenly the gank can actually work.
Absolutely, we'll see what they can do here. Overall, 1 more summoner used by Giants. We're going to just kind of keep track of the scoreboard. Still pretty good for them right here.
And we actually also see now on the minimap, the Jhin is moving in to put a ward on blue buff because they know, okay, we can't like ward every single gank path from a Rek'Sai because there's so many options, but we can ward the buff that we think Rek'Sai is going to take, and therefore you know, okay, Rek'Sai's on bottom side, you have at least information, and now you don't want to just like perm push the bottom side just due to the risk of you actually getting ganked.
Yeah, let that be a lesson to everyone who plays bot lane, AD carries or supports. Again, around 2 minutes and change, get a ward into that jungle, whether you're seeing the Gromp or the blue buff, hopefully both. If you get the better ward, you can move to the right a little bit and see both those camps. But tracking what's up with that Rek'Sai is a huge, huge deal.
And you can do some mind games now as Mighty Bear where you take the blue buff and then you just walk out like around your blue buff, close to the mid lane, and then you path down from the mid lane towards the bottom side if you want to go for that.
It's an early handoff.
Oh, actually, I mean, it makes sense, you know, Rek'Sai doesn't need that blue buff, and Mighty Bear is just going to continue farming. He knew he was spotted by that ward being placed before. And top lane, this time around, we can actually look at the matchup. It's not a tank versus tank. It's not super boring. It is, in fact, a carry on the Jace here. And we will see this Lee Sin visit that lane later on to try and take down the Maokai. Tracking Mighty Bear really well, though, on the side of Kongdoo Monster.
He's got smite, so there's no real risk of losing the Raptors there. It should be okay. But you can see Roach goes in deep for the Trinket Ward. Again, he's not just warding, like, the gank path. He's warding camps. And it's so nice we're seeing this so many times in a row now to kind of anchor the point. Ooh, Goober taking plenty of damage right here. Should be okay, but yeah, has all summoners. Flash and Exhaust both up. Ooh, he's got to be careful. Hustling tanks the Deadly Flourish. And the Q goes the wrong way.
And that's one of the important things. If you don't see support Nautilus very often, you just see a Punch steal away some camps. And this again what you can do when you track the jungler. They tracked Mighty Bear at the blue buff, then at the Wolf camp, then at the Crocs up in the top lane, and it opens up for Lee Sin to move in and find him, and it opens up for the lanes to play aggressive because they know where the jungler is.
Yeah.
But again, if you haven't seen Nautilus support at all, very strong in the early laning phase because like it's a very tanky, it actually has enough base damage to do something, but falls off super hard later on where you just have no damage and you're just a CC machine and you don't really get tanky enough to like sit in the front line of a team fight.
Yeah, it's not really that easy. Yeah, you got Courage, that helps a little bit, but yeah, in the laning phase, you're practically invincible. You get like 400 health worth of shields from the Keystone and from the W, where you just cannot trade back onto Nautilus. So he gets to play very aggressively like this and just look for hooks. If it lands on a champion, you just win the trade outright. Yeah,
and also because of the extra shield from Courage, it's even harder to break through the W shield of Nautilus, so he actually has that for longer.
Right,
he's smacking away with this extra passive damage from that one, which obviously is a good amount of damage in the early game, but that's enough about Nautilus specifically because nothing is happening in that bottom lane. It's really all about tracking Mighty Bear and then watching what Roach can do here on this Jace in the top lane. Good start from him, 40 CS to 21.
Yep.
And this tower is going to take damage. This Maokai is going to be under siege multiple minutes, and we're just waiting for Lee Sin level 6, and he's going to go top and kill him.
He's up 18 CS in actual minion count. Now you can see he's going to probably deny part of this wave as well, so okay, he lost one himself. But yeah, look at this. 44 to 22, double CS, the teleport comes in. You see Edge doesn't want to let Knight get a decent recall, because Knight wants to get tier into, I think, part of Catalyst. I don't know if he can finish full Catalyst with the amount of money he has right now, but either way, he wants to recall, and Edge doesn't let him. Very smart of him.
Yeah, what's important, I mean, obviously both members want to get some of the same early items with their extra mana regen, but apart from that, you know, this game is looking pretty good early on on the side of Kongdoo Monsters, just because they have that top lane and because the Jhin without flash didn't get punished. I'm actually a little bit disappointed Mighty Bear didn't try and sneak around after handing off blue buff and just try and go for that bot lane gank. Yes, it can be a little bit obvious, but the bot lane was actually being pushed by Soul and Guger down there. The rest obviously is because Kongdoo played it well and tracked him at the other camps up in the top side jungle. But I like to see, like, just like you're trying to sneak around because you know they have a ward somewhere, you're trying to sneak around it and you go for that surprise early gank. But it didn't actually happen, and that just means that Kongdoo Monster are able to kind of win the laning phase.
Definitely agree. Punch gets his first recall in. That's going to be the aggressive build of going for the early Caulfield's Warhammer into Boots' speed as well. So really going to be good at ganking. See if he can make that kill happen. Is level 6, and you said it's going to be top lane Officio. Right now the blue buff's up, and Lee Sin might grab that first, but
yeah, I'm expecting it. I just want to see Jace poke down their Maokai to like 50% HP, and then it's a very easy gank to execute as the Lee Sin. That's
Punch is going to try to fight Rek'Sai in the jungle,
enough,
actually.
Yeah. As long as Punch can track Mighty Bear, he can go for that gank without any risk of really dying. You just fly in as a Lee Sin, you kick the Maokai, and you just kind of like execute him, and you walk out. You don't stay on the tower for much longer than a few seconds.
Yep. Unlucky for Punch, he I guess kind of timed the recall, maybe 6 seconds too slowly. Wasn't there in time to steal red. Ooh, nice though by Roach. Steals away 70 gold in half a level or so. Beautifully executed there, taking away the big Krug. But yeah, Mighty Bear just constantly attacked by almost everyone in Kongdoo Monster at some point in his life already.
Always what happens in bot lane trading.
You can see there is just no damage being dealt to Hustlin, so they try to get damage back on an upset. A little bit dealt there, but it ends up being kind of an equal trade. Though Kongdoo seems to have slightly better items.
And now Mighty Bear coming with trying one of these sneaky ganks coming from behind. Hostin can just flash on this Jhin if he wants to.
Be a kill. Flash. Oh, he tries to predict the flash, can't quite get it, and a nice flash by his Soul gets away, but he's still going to take too much damage. Nicely done. Upset actually burns his flash for an unneeded auto attack, but either way, the kill does come through. 3 flashes used for 3 summoners of KDM.
I mean, we finally got that gank in the bottom lane we were looking for. We wanted to see it much, much earlier, but now we got it at least. Soul went down on the Jhin. Very important that Giants start getting some kills in these lanes here. They really want to get Ezreal and Ryze past these early stages of the game where you're sitting and stacking up tier and you're not really doing that much. Like, get them to the mid-game point where they have fully stacked tiers, and Giants will suddenly have very strong mid-game team fights also with all these tanks. But they need to do something on the map because they can't do anything top lane due to Jace being so much stronger than the Maokai.
Yeah.
So bot lane is the correct target. And it's kind of a race. How fast can we do something bot lane compared to how fast Kongdoo Monster can do something top lane? And if you just do nothing and sit back and be passive, then Jace on his own will just take down that top lane tower.
And it's getting worn down. Of course, the first few minutes it had damage reduction. Those are, part of those mid to late 2016 changes, so he didn't get as much damage as he would have liked. But either way, it's starting to get worn down now, about 2/3 HP. Flaxish having a miserable time, but his teleport's up pretty soon, so it won't be terrible forever. The big question I have is, can Mighty Bear come into this top lane? Roach can only ward it so much, and okay, it's a flash Rex side, but maybe you can make that kill happen.
Yeah, it's really hard to make that kill happen just because your Maokai is so low on HP, and if the enemy jungler is nearby,
you just die.
You instant die in the 2v2, so you can't really go for the gank as Mighty Bear. You can just kind of defend the Maokai and try and let him push out a wave. Kongdoo Monster as well, after a recall from the bottom and gets his dragon fight as well.
A lot of damage. Husson will die to maybe one more shot. Summoner heal, anchor toss, and nice Q by Punch. Couldn't be juked away from. Good job in the gank. 2 assists, 2-2 in kills now.
Giants bot lane getting caught with the pants down. Happened last game as well, where they engaged a fight without teleport from the top laner and they actually ended up dying. Return gank that happened, of course, from Team Liquid. This time around, though, it is Kongdoo Monster picking up the kill. They're in a pretty good position. Gonna get the Black Cleaver. You can get last Whisper to Jace after. And Knight taking damage.
He's gonna be one hit from Dad. There's the kill picked up. Edge with the solo kill in the mid lane. Shatira and Negatron float beautifully done.
And this was a Knight picking the Ryze into Cassiopeia matchup.
Yeah.
He blind picked the Ryze when Cassiopeia was available. Took the Ryze in first rotation. That is backfiring now from Giants.
He's getting slaughtered.
He's getting destroyed. And the last pick, Maokai, as well, when they already sold the Jace, Giants are getting outplayed in these solo lanes very, very, very hard.
Yeah, we saw actually in the previous game, and when they took on Liquid, that Giants was happy to wait on the mid lane pick and give Knight a good matchup to abuse. This time around, the early Ryze getting punished. Yeah. What a good stun.
It just has to be the stun landing from Edge. If you don't instantly turn around as the Ryze, you will definitely lose the trade. And just a very easy solo kill from Edge here, and a good start from him. He had a great first game today on Syndra, and off to another good start. So I personally feel like in the last game, and Freak, maybe you disagree, but I felt like Giants individually were better than Team Liquid, and that's why Knight were able to get a big advantage and kind of carry in that game. Or I say Giants, I mean Knight was individually better than what Liquid had to offer. So a game like this now, where Knight is now dying solo and the team is not able to really snowball anywhere, it looks pretty difficult. Mighty Bear's trying to gank top lane.
Well, the Flash's Q is down. Use it for the mini wave now for the fight. Nice knock up there. Actually cancels Roach's Q. He's trying to run away, trying to. There's the flash on the wall, and he does get it, but the chase by Flaxish. W's back up. That should be enough to get the kill. Nicely done, and the gank finally comes through.
Let's see mid lane instead now. Kongdoo Monster trying to do something. Knight is already backing away.
Smart of him, but that turret's gone.
That turret is definitely gone, and that's what happens when you automatically win these lanes. Hustling.
Good hook. The knockup lands on a 2. Good damage. They're going to go in for Punch, and yes, they get that one turned around, but look at that kill. Nice crit comes through for Soul. Now, Roach's teleport up when he respawns in 7 seconds. Will there be more of a fight? Looks like no, as they all disengage, and it's just Edge clearing the wave.
Some cool plays happening here. Finally, Giants could actually gank the top lane because the Maokai had just returned with full HP to the lane, and Roach, of course, was pushed all the way to the tower. So they could actually go for that gank, had even some ward to spot a potential Lee Sin. But this is now the engagement after the tower's gone down. Tostin is going to try and lock down the Lee Sin, and in the end they trade 1 for 1. And it feels like Giants have to fight their way out of this one, because again, they're losing these solo lanes so hard right now. This top end tower is taking damage, mid tower is already down. It's going to be a game where Giants will have to team fight their way to a victory.
Right, it's interesting. It's basically, you're right, it's 5-on-5s that they have to come to second, or Mighty Bear has to just gank out of his mind, because all the lanes have pressure from Kongdoo Monster. So, I mean, they're always pushed up, which means I guess they're gankable if he's not being warded.
Sure.
But because they're all pushed up, they can ward.
Yeah.
So it makes it hard, of course.
And it's really hard for you to get your deep vision, so it's really hard for you to track the jungler. And that's always the thing that a lot of like solo queue junglers seem to misunderstand. Like when you're getting constantly pushed to your tower, and they're like, oh, I'm just going to go gank your lane because it's so easy. Like, no, you can't just do that because enemy jungler can't be there. You have zero vision of the enemy jungler because you have no wards in the enemy jungle. Look at the minimap right now. There's not even a single ward in the river.
Oh, and Flash is in a pretty bad spot against Roach. Taking some damage, and Powered Q nearly takes him out, down to 100 HP.
Walking out.
Yep.
He's fine, but look at that river now. There's one Giants ward being placed just now in the river. That means zero information on where the enemy jungler is, zero information on where members of Kongdoo Monster are roaming on the map, and that makes it impossible to play League of Legends. In solo queue, in professional play, when you don't have any vision in the river or past the river, every decision you make it's blind, basically.
Yep.
Or you need the enemy to show first, and that means you're reactive and they're proactive.
Yeah.
And then you're always a few seconds late. And it becomes impossible to play the game.
Unless you're extremely good at guessing.
Oh, yeah.
Theoretically, if you always choose right, you don't need vision, but that's like saying I'm all in when you just like, oh, Texas Hold'em, okay, I have a 2 and a 7 suited, all in, I'm going to get a flush, don't worry.
Exactly. You will end up losing more than you're going to win if you do that.
But that is a pretty appropriate sort of allegory for what's happening here in a game where you have no wards. Is you're all inning with mediocre hands and hoping that you know what the flop's going to be, and it often isn't what you want.
And you're hoping you surprise the other by being aggressive. And they're like, oh, okay, he's aggressive. Surely something is happening. I'm just going to try and step down.
Right.
And then actually you get like a kill here and there, but most of the time you get counter ganked, you get roamed on, and you end up losing that skirmish. And then, you know, you just fall even further behind. It's 151 or 52, 3, 4, 5, whatever CS it is on this Cassiopeia now, compared to 108 on Knight. Like, that's a massive difference. And that's the best member on Giants being down.
Absolutely. So, let's see what can be done. 3,000 gold difference. Giants definitely holding on better than Dark Passage had in their previous game, but bigger deficit than Giants had when they took the comeback win against Liquid. So, a tough road ahead, but could be doable. Edge waiting in the brush, hoping to knock down Hustle. Nice turnaround, does not get stunned, and they've got Knight right here as well. The flash getting over the wall. More follow through, but it's just Summoners down, and now, Mighty Bear going to get rooted up, going to take plenty of poison damage as well. Hook's not going to land. Upset, burns the heal, but here comes the teleport flank. This could be really rough, really fast. Knight trying to get him out. Can't do it with the Realm Warp. And this could be even more kills coming through. Mighty Bear going to flash, but here is Jace. Looks for Upset. Finally, a late teleport coming in for Maokai, but it's probably too little too late. Hoping for another fight. Knight goes down. Upset one hit away from dead. Can they take down Roach? They actually can't even do it. The Karma save. Well played by Googer. Flashes. Why even bother teleporting? You've already lost your whole team. 3 for 0. Easy fight for Kongdoo Monster.
Giants tried to create a pick here on Edge, but the problem is the Nautilus ulti obviously is so slow. The animation takes a lot of time before it reaches its target, so Edge just flashed over the wall, said, I'm out of here, boys, and then Giants tried to chase, but in the end, TP in behind them, multiple members getting caught out, and yes, they got a few members low from the Kongdoo Monsters, but no one actually died, and that's the problem now for Giants. They were already behind. They tried to create a pick. It backfired. They didn't have proper information of the enemy team, and now you're down 5k gold and 2 Infernal Drakes.
Oh yeah, this is a huge lead right now for Kongdoo Monster.
So basically,
nice turn, but
Nautilus ulti is too slow, which means Edge can flash over the wall in time, and now...
And Knight never went for the Rune Prison.
Yeah, could actually just obviously gone straight like Rune Prison into like Nautilus hook or ulti. Getting caught out now and then TP in behind, and at this point, as you said, like, as a Maokai, just peace out. Like, there's no point in you joining now. Your team just needs to run away. Upset should have ran away as well before. Knight is trying to 1v3, but Upset actually tried to come down and like help him first, and then they had to juke Jace. In the end, they just end up getting caught every single member, and even the Maokai uses TP, dies, and it is looking very bad for Giants at the moment.
Definitely rough stuff right now, but Kongdoo Monster can feel very good about having a extremely convincing first match win over Dark Passage. Now looking pretty wonderful against Giants. Flash's got nowhere to go. Maokai. Goodbye. 8-4. Ooh, the flash kick. Knight suddenly in range of everybody else, and Realm Warp. Goodbye.
Gets the minion anyway.
Beautiful.
Shoots, tries to hit Knight on the way out. This might be the fight for Giants.
All right, looking for the knock-up on a Googer. A lot of Burst damage coming through. Mantra's shield gonna get dropped, and now it's up for Punch. A lot of CC, Rune Prison's there, and finally Giants working their way back into the game. Sadly for them, Baron Nash not available, nor is a Drake. Maybe they get mid-outer. Yeah. Looks like they should.
First mistake really from Kongdoo Monster in this game here, overextending in the mid lane, but they got top lane tower, and now Jace and Cassiopeia are coming towards the mid lane. Giants are pretty low, honestly, 50% HP in some of them.
Wow, that afraid of the damage of it. Hook's gonna land though on a Roach. That is huge. Rune Prison hits there as well. Mighty Bear's in range. Nice crit comes out from Soul, and Helsing's gonna run out of HP in a 3 versus 5. Look at that. Managed to pick up 2 kills, and oh, goodbye. Even more are gone. Make that 3. Here comes the chance at a quadra kill. Poor Flaxish is alone and throws a sapling and runs away. I guess it was 3v4, but either way, they won a 3v4 and got 3.
They all died, Brick. That's the only thing that really matters in this game here. Giants have been trying to create some aggressive plays, but it's just backfired because, again, you were down already from the laning phase. You were just naturally losing in your solo lanes. You didn't have any vision on the map. And then Kongdoo Monster, as a team, are just too smart and too good at using the advantage. Like,
yeah.
they don't make any massive mistakes, and it's been one of the cool things about Kongdoo Monster as a team. Always been like that fairly smart team. They just didn't have the individual talent, but now again some of these members have stepped up. New jungler coming in as well, doing really well, and of course they can match what Giants is doing individually, and then just outsmart them as well.
Yeah. This is a solid team right here. That flash follow is pretty good. Get the Q, get the auto attack. Mighty Bear gets away. That's nice and everything, but triple kill for Soul. 5, 1, and 3 here on the Jhin. Feeling pretty good. Interesting build, actually. It's always fun seeing when people decide to get on Jhin. I think there's probably like 6 or so different possible permutations to go for, but Youmuu's Infinity Edge I think is actually pretty cool. Even though Infinity Edge normally is not gold efficient by itself without more crit, because Jin's 4th auto and 4th ult are guaranteed crits, you don't care what your crit chance is, just your crit damage, and you get huge bursts out of those shots.
Yeah, I actually think this is one of the highest DPS builds you can go for. Like, I always like Essence Reaver Jhin as well, just because I like the cooldown reduction.
Oh yeah, me too.
And like, you use him and just create a lot of picks and not just for pure damage.
And he'll probably get that next once he finishes his Phantom Dance or Static Shiv.
Could definitely be an option, but like, because you can say in a game like this, you know, you have Jace, you have Cassiopeia, you have Lee Sin, like, you didn't need the maximum DPS build or like a really high DPS build from the Jhin specifically, but you're also snowballing big time, and a lot of it for AD carries, especially when you talk to like professional AD carries and you're like, so why exactly did you go for this choice here instead of this other choice when they're both like very close to each other? It's like, oh, I just had X amount of gold when I recalled. So I went for BF instead of Ghostblade and build that into like Essence Reaver or IH, you know, these kind of different choices.
It's very common for ADCs just to piece together items because you just need the stats as desperately as you can.
And again, if you have a back time where you can like complete a Hex String or something, like you go for the Hex String instead of QSS, right, Freak?
Yeah, you cost the same amount of money. Okay, nice juke right there. Knight gets away from the stun, but look at the kiting. Edge pops the Ghost, walks away. And Knight not in range yet for the Rune Prison, just tosses the Q, doesn't get enough damage. Now suddenly punches here, throws out the Q, doesn't decide to kick. Not going to join the fight.
Well, they're trying bot lane now.
Looking for a bit of damage on upset, going to knock himself back, and Roach running for dear life, and it dies in midair. That was stylish.
At least you die with style. We don't care if you're getting caught in the bottom lane, as long as you die a beautiful, awesome death. Yeah, Giants getting a few picks here. Like, one of them ended up giving a kill. The other one, they forced a flash from Edge. That can be important in a potential fight, and it does slow down Kongdoo Monsters a little bit. Still a long way to go for Giants. Like, we're going to have to see like a big team fight win near Baron for them to really come back in this game here.
Let's see what they can get for themselves right now. CS numbers, actually kind of interesting to look at. You've got a huge farm lead for Mighty Bear, which, like, you expect Rek'Sai against Lee Sin, you're just going to have those kind of differences, but every other lane, a moderate to small lead really for Kongdoo Monster. As we've kind of seen this entire game, they've been out laning. The stats back it up. It's a 7,000 gold lead. It's, well, 6.5, I should say.
He's not moving. He's going to find Mighty Bear. Maybe he doesn't want Mighty Bear. He's waiting for someone else.
Waiting for the rest of the team. Looking for the root on Hustle. Get him nearly picking off that Nautilus. And one shot will kill him out. Doesn't even get to ult. That's a big deal. Edge kiting does drop, though. That's a pretty big deal. But Flaxish has to flash away right away. And here comes the Lee Sin. Knocked back. A whole bunch of damage. Upset trying to hard carry the fight. Knight getting plenty off as well. And this could be a good fight for Giants. But that, ooh, wow. The plant blows up. A nice flash on the Q. Can't get the damage. Finally trades it around. A quadra kill. No, that's a It is a quadra kill.
I believe it's a quadra kill. He got a lot of kills, Freak.
Quadra kill for Knight. Beautifully done.
Yeah, Knight tried to flash around to see if he could land that Q skill shot in the end, but just couldn't properly get to the Jhin fast enough. But it doesn't matter because Giants are now going even in some of these fights with all the big tanks. Engage is not the greatest from Kongdoo Monsters, and now Edge on this Cassiopeia is caught in the front line, and the tanks here actually staying alive from Giants, and now it's opening up for Upset and Knight to deal problems. Knight hasn't taken any damage in this fight now, and then he's 1v1 against Soul. Lee Sin Jones, he wants to flash out of both the Sonic Wave, and he wants to get into a better position for landing that overload onto Jhin, but just
finally EQs the Lee Sin and it bounces off. So he had to wait for the E to come back up.
Still though, Giants going even in another fight against double Infernal Drake.
Yeah.
And multiple kills, but that's the thing, like when you play so many carries, it is expected you're getting ahead in the laning phase. The tanks are still strong in fights. Oh, this is good engage so from Kongdoo Monsters. Upset taking so much damage.
Yeah, it is really worth pointing out there's 2 tanks, actually 3 tanks from Giants, and really no major tank to speak of. Lee Sin, of course, went Warrior Enchant, so he's just not that durable. Actually absorbing a lot of damage to the hook and onto Edge. Good knockup, good Rune Prison. Knight is pretty invincible here, just dueling with Punch right now, and Edge running out of HP, still on top of Mighty Bear, chunked out but doesn't die, so he gets to escape that fight, and that's 2 for 0 so far. The tanks kind of refusing to die, finally one traded back. A big crit comes out from Soul and turns it around for a 2-on-2. Now Flaxish and Upset, oh, they do get the trade kill back in, but Punch still in the mix, and Soul can crit everybody, and this should be the ace coming through. Well, it would be if it weren't for Mighty Bear escaping, but this one, +1 in the team fight for Kongdoo Monster.
Yeah, in the end, Kongdoo managed to win a very scrappy fight again. It's simply because they are heading gold and have so many Infernal Drakes. But it's another team fight where Edge on this Cassiopeia, he's trying to be that big hero with a crazy engage. Like, look at him in the fight here. He's stepping forward, trying to land a good ulti, but he's just too far forward, and the tanks won't go down. Knight with some fancy footwork as well. And now this Cassiopeia dies very early, and that's a lot of damage being removed, but Jhin is going off in this game. 11 kills after this fight here with that Infinity Edge build. Soul is just doing so much damage, and he's always been one of the star players on this team. Like, when you talk to Papa Smithy, and I was discussing like Nuclear with him because he's obviously now joined H2K. It was like Soul and Nuclear were the 2 good AD carries on bad LCK teams. And now, obviously for Soul here, he's on a better team. Still Kongdoo Monster, but just a better roster.
Yeah, but they won Challenger, and sometimes that can be enough to really elevate you.
Exactly, and some of the players have improved, and of course a little roster change. And Nuclear now joined H2K. Definitely
Top
also
4 at Worlds.
Definitely an upgrade in terms of your team. So
over Forgiven? How dare you say that about Forgiven?
Wait, I said it was an upgrade for Nuclear with the team.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't say
I thought
Nuclear was an upgrade over Forgiven.
I misunderstood you.
Maybe I misspoke. I am Danish after all.
I think you were right, and I misheard you. That's my fault.
I'm
sorry. I
think Forgiven is a star AD carry, though.
I think he's very good.
I actually wonder what he's planning on doing.
Punch taking a whole ton of damage. Sorry, I had to non-sequitur you there because Punch is taking a whole ton of damage.
He was.
Yeah, so Muramana fully completed now for Upset. He's got the Ruin King in as well, which of course got buffed not long ago. I believe in 623 or earlier, so
623, yeah, 8% now.
Yep.
Definitely is a strong item against some of these big tanks.
And Punch actually went Banshee's Veil as his second tank item, so that's not much HP, and of course it's MR, which means it's even easier for Upset to kill him off. And honestly, like, Knight is still the star of the show. He's been doing the big plays for the most part, but Upset is getting a lot of damage in on these team fights. I don't love him going for second lifesteal item. I'd rather see like a Shiv or a Rapid Fire Cannon, honestly, like something for a DPS build.
He might be going VT now instead of actually getting just...
Yeah, I don't like Bloodthirster or Scimitar in this, but...
A little bit too much sustain from him, definitely, especially because he's getting so much burst damage. So again, it's not even about like him taking better damage from a tank and then sustaining it back up. No, he's actually just going to get one shot if he gets caught out. So you need to just kind of trust in your own position. Might be a bit of a face check here from Giants.
A lot of damage. Muslin cannot ult in time again. Second time in a team fight that's happened to him. They do just barely block out those ultis, and not to say it's alive, but that means it's 5v4 with low HP for Baron.
And whenever Kongdoo Monster has been able to like play the map, they've been doing better than Giants. Let's see who's actually appearing. It's just a bait with the Rise ulti. Mighty Bear might have to try and steal this one, but they're not letting him in.
played really well by Kongdoo Monster. Can Mighty Bear go in for the steal? He's almost out of HP. They're going to try. No, he gets crit out. There's no chance to pick that one up. Knight could be dying for this as well. The flash over the wall. They do trade one in. They're going to get Googer, but this is going to be a big chase down. Edge is going to get the damage effort that he needs. Knight is going to die for this one. Yes, he will. And that is 2 for 5 plus a Baron. Nicely done, Kongdoo Monster.
Yeah, well played around the Baron specifically. It ended up taking a lot of damage in the back of the Baron pit. Obviously, when so many members are standing behind the Baron, it will keep like shooting these spikes at you. But they just wanted to deny entrance for Mighty Bear. And in the end, he died before he could even come in to try and steal the Baron. Giants pick up a few kills, but again, whenever we have seen like map plays, Kongdoo Monster has been slightly better than Giants, but in the big 5-on-5 team fights, it's actually been very even. Also because Giants have such a big team fighting composition. So good for Kongdoo Monster here. They can get that Baron, make a play around, and catch a few members first. Hostin obviously going down, and we talked about this earlier on in the game. Nautilus outside the laning phase as a support, he's not that big of a tank. Like, he dies pretty quickly, and 0-7 obviously on Nautilus, and that's one of the problems. If your team is behind and you're playing a tank support, you will die every single fight.
And you can see he's even built so unselfishly, right? He went Moby Boots, which I understand. You want to get around the map, pick plays, but he went Redemption's second item, which is like 2,000 gold for maybe 300 HP, like something pretty low overall. And it just makes it very easy to kill off. Now looking for the jump on the wall, looking for the chase. The Satchel Plant helping Googer running out of HP. Can they have the hits? They're looking for it. The Lee Sin kickback buys a bit more time, and no one is dead yet. The jump in, looking to kill off Roach, and that will be a dead Jace. Hasn't done much outside the landing phase, but here comes the re-engage. The Lee Sin jump in, can't quite find it. Punch gets right back out with a whop. Nice little cue from Knight. They've got to disengage. High MR means Ryze can kill him too easily. Ooh, that cue landed. He might have been able to kill Upset. Nearly takes down Cougar, who did survive from earlier. Flax is rooted in place. Soul 2 auto attacks away from killing a champion.
Even trade again though, 1-for-1. Kongdoo Monster slightly winning out on it. Will have the redemption heal coming in now and getting that tower down. Rest of Giants, none of them actually went back to base.
Fine for that one. No kickback. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. 25-18. Big gold lead of 10,000, and now the mid inhibitor going down. Nicely played Kongdoo Monster again, making good choices sieging. They even trading 1-for-1. They still get more. Yeah,
knew they could stay around. Had the heal from redemption, and again we're just so far ahead of Giants and 15 kills now on this Jhin. Insanely fed. He even has the QSS in case anything. Just managed to see him. It is very hard for Giants to kill him. They can kill the rest of the team, but Soul is just staying so far back in these fights. And his positioning has been
absolutely great. He is playing super, super well. He's the one really carrying the game now with his DPS-focused Jhin build. The fact that just Roach isn't really getting all that much done, it really does fall down to Soul due to the rest of the damage. And I guess if you're in a game with Roach, he's Geralt of Rivia here, slaying everyone that he can. Doing a great job of it. I don't think you get the reference.
No. I knew you were trying to say something funny. I was gonna, should I fake laugh or something?
No, it's fine. We're gonna move on because it's a fight right now. Oh, this is bad for Mighty Bear, taking 1 million damage, gets shut down. Another one for Soul. Now Hustling gonna get dropped as well. The slows is still in. Knight is in a dangerous position, gets kicked out of it, and that could be even more damage. They won't even pick down Roach. He stays alive, and oh dear, it's all just gone away at this point. Flaxfish engages to his own demise. Why even bother?
Didn't happen, Freak. It didn't happen. Giants getting caught out again, and now Kongdoo Monster with all the dragons, the massive goal lead, and the super minions.
That's going to be game one, almost for certain. 29-18 in kills. Upset cannot turn this one around. There was no chance for him. Game one going to go to Kongdoo Monster. It's a best of 3. They've got one more win to go, and if they get it, they will move on to face Immortals in the semifinals. Immortals might have to look. Oh, they're going to go for the dive, and they can't get it. A double kill for Upset. Beautifully done. Patting the KDA. 9-4 and 10. It's not going to be enough. There's the game. Kongdoo Monster take game one.
Yeah, Kongdoo Monster definitely outplaying Giants for most of this game. I think it's fair to say. There were some even team fights, 5-on-5s against all the tanks. Edge was trying his hardest to lose some of those fights as well with some very poor positioning. But his AD carry, Soul, was playing near flawlessly in this game. 41,000 damage dealt by the Jhin. Next man up was actually Upset with 29,000, so a bit of a difference.
But yeah, that Jhin doubled the Cassiopeia's damage output there, roughly speaking. Of course, Jason's playing against the tank in the top lane matchup, so that looks nice and all, but yeah, Soul, huge hard carried huge, hard carry performance. Very well played by him. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, glad we saw like things like Jace again, or we saw like the winning solo lanes coming in. Obviously, Knight getting outplayed in the mid lane by Edge was a really big deal in this game here. Like, imagine some of these fights without Knight losing mid lane so hard. Could be much closer, but he definitely can't afford to do that again, and he was the guy who picked the Ryze first. He opted into that matchup, and he got punished for it. So Giants needs to fix the issues with these solo lanes, and then they can win.
Let's see if they can do it. We're going to be right back after these messages with Game 2 from IEM Gyeonggi 2016. Winner moves on to the semifinals.